Right on. So if you watched the last video, you'll know that I'm building an application for live events. And before I get started and dig into all of the fun stuff that is, the internet and everything like that, and all the stuff that we're going to be using and all that junk, I just wanted to take a minute to kind of like scaffold out the project like in my head, right? So one of the things that I was really looking forward to was working with nuxt-ui, which is a framework built on top of Vue. And, according to the website, it's the intuitive Vue framework, right? An open source framework that makes web development intuitive and powerful, create performant and production grade full stack web apps and websites with confidence, right? So I've worked with Nuxt before a little bit, kind of got the basics of it, and I feel pretty confident moving forward. It's one of the ones that I like the best, and, to their point, it is intuitive. And the other big piece of the pie that we talked about was Supabase. So here's Subabase's website. You can see here that it's an open source Firebase alternative. Start your project with a Postgres database, authentication, instant APIs, edge functions, real-time subscription storage, and vector embeddings. So that's a lot of cool stuff going on there. But we'll kind of break them down one by one. So just kind of knowing that that's the core, like that's my front end and my back end. Back end being the Supabase database and the front end being nuxt-ui. I did want to kind of go through sort of where I start with projects. And what I really like is within Nuxt, they have this integrations tab, and in there they have modules. And I just went through, and I've got my pen and paper here. I made some notes and everything, but just a couple of things as we go through these side categories here. Like we can look at analytics, right? These are just plugins basically that you can put within Nuxt that will make all this stuff work. So in this first section, analytics, I'm not going to do a super deep dive into any of it. Basically it's going to tell people or tell you when people are on your site, and it's just a way of like managing that stuff. That is totally going to be something in the future I'm integrating. But for now, for something, just getting started, this is not a top priority. What I do want to do is go to the next tab down though and just take a look at these options for CMS, so content management systems. On the back end, I'm looking at, or I guess within the app, I'm really looking at this Nuxt content module, this first one here. And I'm also looking at this Nuxt Studio so that we can look at the two of them together. So Nuxt content's free, it's a plugin, and basically you can read the documentation. But if we were to just kind of click through and everything, this is basically going to make a directory within your application that supports these couple different kinds of files here and everything. And in sort of like the application world, documentation is key. It really kind of tells people how to use your app. It should be intuitive enough, but if they ever get lost, it's like a documentation thing. But let's see, like this is what Nuxt content actually does, right? Like all of this on the edge here that brings you to all of these pieces of documentation. This is Nuxt content in action. So you could picture this sort of as, these could be blog articles, they could be documentation pieces, they could be, theoretically in a e-commerce site, right? Like you have that content on the back end. This is the management system that manages it. And while this is just links on the side of a page that brings you places, it's pretty powerful stuff. So this is definitely something we want to incorporate in our project. And the reason I'm just looking at this stuff before I even get started, because I just want to make sure that when I build like my initial commit, that these things are in there ready to go, so that when we do it, we dive in. So it's really just kind of getting on top of things. I'm going to back out of all of this stuff and get back to this page here. So we have CSS next. We're going to be using what's called Tailwind. That may be down here, in the UI. So Tailwind's just kind of a way to design your pages. Something a little bit different, but that's going to come in with something even more important, which is nuxt-ui. This is something I've been playing around with a little bit. It's sort of one of the things that has inspired me to start these videos, really, was because as I was building with nuxt-ui, I found that there is a lot of good documentation for the UI components here, but they also have this pro version. And if you jump into the pro version and you see the components where you can put a like a pre-built header on your website. That they're not showing you what it looks like here, but this up here is actually the nuxt-ui header. This is the pre-built component, and these items here are basically built into the Nuxt content. I don't know if that's exactly how they're using it, but theoretically, these links up here, documentation, playground, roadmap, pro, releases, documentation, pro, releases. You can see these items are here, and that's what's directing you around the navigation of the site. So this pro module, just so I want to be clear, there is, I want to say it's $200 or something like that. Yeah, $200 solo and $700 for a team of up to 20 developers. But anyway, for this project, I am going to buy the solo project for me because I want to be able to launch this out onto the web so that you guys can see it, and so that's also like used in the wild. However, you can use Pro for free when you're developing. So if you're following along and you want to play with these things, you can use it free in development. But again, one of the things I found here is like specifically with the header, right? Like, see how it doesn't go the full width of the page? I think in a modern web app, most of things go the full width of the page. And there is a way to do it when you're developing, but it's not giving me these UI props, and we'll get into that like in the documentation. So it's just saying, yeah, you can do it, but how do you do it? So regardless, really powerful UI library that is built on top of Tailwind. And then if we even go to like the installation piece, I want to look at the installation and setup of Pro. Here it tells us that we start a new project, we bring in, we add Pro to our project, and it's automatically going to bring in nuxt-ui with the Pro layer, and that's going to come with all of the items that come with standard UI, right? So this installation, it should tell us that, yes, this installation is going to bring in Tailwind forms, Tailwind typography, aspect ratio, container queries for responsive, right? And headless UI. So, and then we'll go through all this later and everything, but just really wanted to showcase this and just make sure that this was something on our list that we bring in and make sure that we're using. Again, this is before I even started. I haven't even built a project or nothing. I just wanted to walk through these things. So let's go back to the actual Nuxt page here, the modules page. So we're kind of stuck in UI right now, but hang on, we'll get there. Okay, cool. So we're back here. All right, so the next one down here is going to be database. I told you in the last video, Supabase is what we're going to be using, and they have an integration already with Nuxt, right? So it's going to make things significantly smoother, a little bit easier to get things up and running. So we'll dive into Supabase shortly. Nuxt DevTools is another one that actually just ships with Nuxt at this point. So we'll be looking at that quite a bit and just kind of seeing all that fun stuff. Really, then they have e-commerce, they have other extensions, fonts, images, etc., etc. But I do want to go down to the libraries. This is the next one that I really wanted to showcase. So this is called View Use, and I have this open up here already. So View Use is a collection of essential view, composition, utilities, and all this stuff. But when you jump into the guide here, it's pretty insane, like the amount of things you can do within. You would think. We'll just do get started. There we go. So we have state management. We have different elements within here. All of these like built out composable things. So they have like use draggable, use drop. So here's like draggable. Check the floating boxes. They're floating around here somewhere. I don't know. They're on the page though. I've done this before. I just don't know where they are right now. But either way, there's draggable elements. They have drop zones where here you can, so when you drop things in, clearly not working today, but whatever. Normally it works. Drop files onto drop zones. Yeah. I don't know, but that doesn't matter. I just wanted to show elements, element sizing, but most importantly within here, we are probably going to be, obviously, I think it's obvious at this point that a calendar is going to be a piece of what we're doing. But you can see all of these different components. And here, when we get down to here, we have these like date formats and time agos and things like that. So we can format dates and everything on the calendar and have them render on the page in the way we want them to show and all of that fun stuff. So I really like this library. There's a ton of good stuff in here. It's endless. And the other thing too is that it's tree shakeable. So even though you're bringing in all of these things, like when you build for production, if it's not being used, it's not going to be shipped with the package. So it's not going to slow you down incredibly fast. So that's that. Let's jump back over to the modules and look at SEO is really the next one down that I want to take a look at. And they have this SEO kit. And this SEO kit here is going to bring in experiments, link checker, schema.org, simple robots, simple sitemap, and open graph images. So we have a lot going on here that that is really going to help us to be SEO friendly, at least on the marketing site side for Google and stuff like that. There is a use head composable that we can, when we get in there, we'll be able to make sure we can define some things and all of that stuff, and yada yada yada. So this is just kind of the me getting ready for things. And then finally we have nuxt-ui again, which we've already discussed in depth. That's where we're going to be, and that's pretty much it. So why don't we go to the Nuxt homepage? We'll go to Docs. We'll go to Get Started. Right, and let's take a look at what we need to do to get this stuff started, and we will get a project up and running pretty much. I'll have it on the web by the end of this video, and you guys can go ahead and check it out. So getting started is just going to walk you through this, read this stuff, do all that, have fun with it. I've obviously been here before. We have the guide here, we have the API, right? So all of the info is here. So again, we'll go to getting started, and I'm going to jump to installation. What this is telling us is that we want to initialize our project and get this thing started. So I'm going to run, we can npx, this is fine. And again, I told you in the last video that this is going to be called analog. So I'm just going to copy this command here. I'm going to open a new terminal, and I'm going to CD into my desktop /code. This is where I want it to live, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste in that command, and you can see it's npx nuxt-ui at latest init, and then this project right here is the project name that we want to name it. So I'm going to name it analog, and we are going to run this, and we need to install the following packages. Yes. Okay. Yes, we're good. Here we go. I am going to run this project with pnpm. You can run this with any package manager of your choice, but that's how this is going to go. And we are off and running for the most part. And while that installs, this is usually pretty quick, so I don't even think I need to do a cut, but whatever, we'll figure all that out. As that goes, the next step here, if you look at here, it says open your project folder in Visual Studio Code. So we're going to do code analog, but that's not actually what we're going to do. We're going to read these here. So we've got post install, we're good. Types generated in .nuxt, dependencies, Nuxt 3.9, Vue 3.4, Vue Router 4.2.5, installation complete. Do you want to initialize a Git repository? I do, so I'm going to. And here it's telling me that the next step is to CD into analog, so I'm actually going to go to the directory that it lives in, and it says to just run pnpm run dev, so let's see what happens. And we should be up and going. This is localhost 3000, so let's just jump right here real quick, and we'll do a new tab, and we'll jump to localhost 3000, and we are up and running. So we didn't even have to run a pnpm install or nothing like that. All right, cool. So we are good to go, basically. All right, let's jump back into here, and I'm gonna actually stop this server, and we are going to jump into Visual Studio Code. All right, let's try that again. Interesting. I wonder if I might not have this command set up on this computer. Code dot, I mean, that should be the trick. Fuck it. Anyway, we'll just do this the manual way. Junk. We're gonna open desktop, code, and we've got analog here. Boom shakalaka. All right, so here we are. And now we're gonna go and start a new terminal within here. You're gonna see that down at the bottom. And we're gonna do pnpm run dev. And that should do the trick. We're up and running. Cool. All right, so this particular terminal here, I'm just gonna go ahead and kill it. And in this one here, we're just gonna take a look at kind of what we have set up here. We've got our .nuxt, which is all the nuxt files. Probably won't have to touch that too much. We've got our node modules, again, a bunch of stuff we're not gonna touch too much. Our public folder, which right now is just holding the fave icon. And we've got a server file, and that is pretty much it. Next config, package.json, a bunch of stuff that we kind of know we're gonna need, right? Big thing here though is what's super cool with Nuxt is that they have a pages directory. So basically after the installation, we can go through and do all that fun stuff. But is it the API guide? Yeah, it's probably API. So components, those are the components that you can use. Here's your composables. Utils, command, nuxtkit, advanced. All right, so it's actually going to be in guide. So here's the directory structure. And if you go through this, you'll see that there's this pages one right here, right? So this is how we basically tell Nuxt that this is going to have a lot of different we're going to need navigation in the app. We're going to need all this stuff that sends us places and everything. So basically what it's telling you is that in your app.view, put in Nuxt page to define that you're using this Nuxt page directory. And then in the pages folder, put an index.view to indicate that it's your home page. So that's our first step, right? So if we jump, I just want to move my code over to this screen because I'm more of a flicker than a pusher. But anyway, what we got going on here? I lost it. Where's the code? There's the code. All right, cool. So in our app.view, we are going to, so Nuxt welcome here, check this out. I'm going to get rid of Nuxt welcome and I'm just going to put hello from Nuxt. I'm going to save that. Now, when we go back to the application that we saw earlier that was running, now you'll see it says hello from Nuxt. None of that stuff in the middle was there. So let's check this out again. If we undo all this fun stuff and we put Nuxt welcome back on there and we save it, it's going to re-render welcome to Nuxt. Get started by replacing Nuxt welcome in your app.view, which we just did. So now we're going to want to use that Nuxt page directory structure that they just told us about to get all set up. So I'm going to put that Nuxt page in there. If I save this now, it's probably going to break the app, right? So now you don't see any of the writing, you don't see anything. And it's because it doesn't know where to point. So what we need to do is add a new folder and we need to name this pages. This is a protected name. You have to name it pages. And once you do, now it's saying, hey, Nuxt page, whenever, let's go take a look at where we're at on the site. So if we do an index.view here, we now are being directed to this page. Again, this is broken, right? There's nothing going on. So let's fix that by putting in a template tag, right? And in the template tag, we'll just throw in a div for now, and we will say hello from Nuxt pages. And if we save that, and come over here, still broken. let's crash the server and restart it. So we got pm run dev. And now if we get over there and let's refresh this, now we got hello from Nuxt pages, right? So we've just kind of reset the whole thing and we're good to go. So before I get to the next step of installing all that stuff, I do want to, at the very least, get this repository on GitHub so that we have a place to control the versions and everything. And let's add one. We'll add it from an existing repository where it's a local path. We're going to choose it on our computer. It's this analog one. We'll open this and we will add that repository. We are going to name this initial commit because it is our first commit, right? And we'll commit this to the main, and it's telling us to publish our repository, and we want to name it analog is fine, and keep this code private. I'm going to do public for y'all so you can go check it out as we build this. I'll probably switch it to private sooner than later, and let's see what that did. So it looks like everything went through, but I'm just going to jump to my GitHub account. I am going to go to my repositories, and we can see here that analog is now here. We jump into this, and let's take a look at the code. We've got pages public server, git ignore, all that stuff that we were seeing in here, right? So there's some ignore files and stuff that aren't in there, but we are officially on GitHub at this point. So the next step I want to do is just kind of show you guys, like, to get this live is really where I want to be next. And that's where Vercel comes in. So I did actually have this pulled up. Vercel is really fucking cool. I really like it. They do a lot with Next and blah, blah, blah. But if you haven't used it before, haven't heard about it, really simple wrapper around AWS services. It gives you, your server on the web, and basically you can read it right here. The Vercel's front-end cloud provides the developer experience and infrastructure to build, scale, and secure a faster, more personalized web. Develop with your favorite tools, blah, 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 blah. Cool. So we are logged in up here, and what I'd like to do is add new, and I want to add a new project, and I want to import this from a Git repository, and we want to import analog, and we want to deploy analog, and it now knows that repository is the code that it's looking for to put on the web, and it's going to, right? So this is going to build it out, and that's going to take a little bit, but we'll be able to visit a real website here in a second, which is pretty cool that we've gone from nothing in this conversation to like a full website that's available to the public with kind of just the click, a couple commands and the clicks of some buttons. And yeah, we haven't gotten very far, but this is sort of like where I like to start my projects, because I love just seeing things on the web, whether they're good or bad. You can see right here that it's giving us a preview. Hello from Nuxt pages. Our website is currently live. We can even add a domain, right? So what's super cool about this is that currently analog.-pi.vercel.app is our production domain. But I also have a analog.band domain that I bought for this that we're just going to add to it. I just typed it in, nothing crazy, right? And it's just telling me we want to basically have a www or just like the standard analog.band. And this is saying that we want to redirect it to the shorthand name, so without the www, and that's the recommended way. I'm fine with that. I'm just going to go ahead and add that as a redirect. And so now it is valid. Good news, your DNS records are set up correctly to propagate, all that stuff. So there may be a situation where I think I'm on Cloudflare with this, but where you have to just make sure that your DNS records point back to Vercel and all that fun stuff. But yeah, we're there. So let's open up a new tab and let's go to analog.band. And boom. So we have a real deal website, that we can visit. Hello from Nuxt pages. So let's jump over here, and I'm going to make one quick little change. And I'm just going to say hello from analog.band. And we'll save that. And we will see here that nothing changed. However, on that localhost 3000, it says hello from analog.band. But since we haven't pushed it out to the web, the actual website doesn't know that there's been any changes. So we're going to jump back over to GitHub. Here, whatever. This is in our main branch, right? So this is the one that it's reading for what it is. And we're just going to do change hello text, right? That's going to be the name of this commit. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to commit it. I'm going to push it to GitHub. Now that it's going to GitHub, so we'll see over on GitHub, if we refresh our page and we go to pages and we go to index, the new text on here should say from analog.band. Now, when we go to analog.band and refresh that, it still hasn't changed. But if we go back to Vercel, we'll see that the other Vercel, we'll see that the project itself is, it looks like it's already updated. So, but basically you're looking at deployments. So there should only be two, right? Our initial commit, yep, and then this other one too. So initial commit and then change hello text. So this is current, this is in the wild. So when I get back over to analog.band and I hit refresh, we've got hello from analog.band. So our live website was just updated with the help of some hooks from GitHub and Vercel being smart enough to know to just deploy it. That's pretty much it. Like, we have a live real deal website right now. So I know that's kind of some beginner stuff, but I really wanted to walk you guys through just the things that I go through first. I take a look at the stuff I want to add and everything. And now that we've got a project that's live on the web, we can start adding this stuff in. And that's what I'll do in the next video. So cool. I hope you got something out of this. I know I kind of glazed past some of the GitHub stuff and the Vercel stuff and everything like that. If you have more questions about that and you want me to do a deeper dive into them, like, feel free to put it in the comments and we'll go from there. So that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time, where we will install all of the modules that we talked about today and then get them ready for production. Just make sure that they're working. We want to see that everything's doing what it's supposed to be doing, and then we'll start building out some basic features on the marketing side of the site, and I'll walk you through that stuff too. So anyway, cool. Thanks again. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.